We all make fashion mistakes, but normally when we're making them, we have no idea that we're making them. So in today's video, I thought I'd talk about the fashion mistakes I see people making all the time, and you might not be aware that you're making some of these, if not all of them yourself. If you like this video at any point, please do drop it a like, and now that's all out the way, let's get into the mistakes. So the first one's all about pants. Now I used to do this first one all the time, and from a lot of comments I've read on my videos, a lot of you do this too, and it's all about sizing up in your pants. The reason I did this, and probably the reason you're doing it as well, is to give yourself some more room in the thigh area. And you may think, because you can't see your waist a lot of the time, it's hidden by your tops, that it doesn't matter, but it really does. Of course you could use a belt, but if your pants are 2 or 3 sizes too big for you, then all a belt's gonna do is cinch in that excess material, and it's gonna look an absolute mess in the crotch area. It's also gonna affect the way your trousers drape on you, and it's gonna look sloppy, and you don't want that. Well, maybe you do, but I don't anyway. And if you go to the tailor to get your waist taken in, then I never find it looks quite right afterwards. Maybe I haven't found the right tailor, but whenever you get your waist taken in, it's gonna change the shape of your trousers, and I do find it always looks a little bit off. So I got these Levi's done at the tailor, and to be honest, they made an absolute mess of these. But you can see the shape of the waist has changed, and look at this bit here. What an absolute mess. The material's all cinched in at the back, and yeah, I won't be going back to where I had these done. So here they are on, and the whole crotch area just looks nasty. There's folds where there aren't supposed to be folds, and maybe I'm being overly fussy here, but I think they look sloppy. So always get yourself a pair of pants that fit you perfectly in the waist. It's so important. And if you get the waist right and the thigh area right, then don't worry so much about the length. You can always get that altered, no problem. So let's talk about buying the same items as influencers next. So taking inspiration from other people can be a really good thing. You can get some new ideas, and I do it a lot. But by following others too closely, you might end up with a look that you're not happy with. Unless the influencer you're following has the exact same measurements as you, then what looks good on them might not look good on you. So let's say your favorite influencer loves wearing Levi's jeans, and they're always wearing the 501s. They look great in them, and you want to get a similar look. But if your body is more suited to a wider fitting jean, like the 551Z for example, then don't go and buy the 501s. Buy the 551Zs. Use influencers as a guide to point you in the direction that you like, but at the end of the day, you still need to do what's right for you and your body shape. So the next one is all about buying something different for the sake of having something different. But let me explain. Now this one is definitely a tricky one, and I do struggle with it still myself sometimes, especially with my job. But there really isn't anything wrong with wearing the same kind of items over and over again if it's what you like. If those are the items that you feel most yourself in, and they work really well for you, then keep wearing them. And when I think of fashion icons, they always had certain looks that they were known for. When I think of Freddie Mercury, I think of tight pants and a statement crop jacket. When I think of Michael Jackson, I think of loafers, white socks, black trousers, and a statement jacket. And his hat and his glove as well. And when I think of James Dean, I think of this outfit. And when I think of Mark Zuckerberg, I'm only joking, but you get the idea. After people watch The Bear, they really want to get Kami's look, and most of the time he's just wearing a white t-shirt and a pair of pants, and that's it. The t-shirt fits him really well, it works really well for him, so it's no wonder people want to get the same look as him. But going back to my previous point, what looks good on Kami might not look good on you, so just keep that in mind. But basically what I'm trying to say is when you find something that works well for you, there's nothing wrong with sticking with it. And personally, I quite like the idea of having a uniform that I'm known for. I haven't found it quite yet, but I'm getting there. The next one is about buying something you don't know how to wear. This is something I see people do all the time, but they buy an item of clothing that they have no idea how to style. When you buy new items of clothing, you should always think about how they're going to work with the rest of your wardrobe. If you have no idea how an item of clothing is going to work with the rest of your wardrobe, and you have no idea how to style it, then maybe hold off buying it for now and properly think about it. There's so many items out there that I love the look of, but if they're not going to work with my wardrobe, then I'm not going to buy them. If I do, I know I'll probably never wear them, and it will just be a waste of money. Also, if you're always buying items of clothing that you like the look of without thinking about how they're going to work for you, then you're probably going to end up with a wardrobe full of mismatched match pieces. And all this is going to do is confuse you further and make getting dressed a lot more difficult. Now, of course, buying something new and learning how to style it can be fun at times, but just put a bit of thought behind your purchases. We can't have a mistakes list without talking about trends, so this next one is all about investing in trends. Now, trends can be fun, but I wouldn't recommend investing a lot of your money into trends that are currently at their peak. Trends can often make us lose focus of what we really like, and we can often buy things that aren't really us. And as soon as everyone else moves on and starts to talk negatively about a trend that you weren't 100% sure on in the first place, then you're going to be left with a wardrobe full of items that you don't want to wear. So if you think you like the idea of a trend, if you can, hold off buying it until the trend dies out a little bit. If you still like that item once the trend has died out, then it probably means you genuinely like that item, and it's probably not a bad idea to pick it up. The next one is about following fashion rules too closely. Now, there's so many fashion rules out there, but you should look at them more as something to keep in mind rather than set in stone rules that you have to follow. And some of them you should just ignore completely and don't even give them the time of day. But some common rules I hear all the time are never wear skinny jeans, never mix brown and black together or navy and black together, never mix more than 2 patterns or 2 colors together in an outfit. The list goes on. And of course, there are going to be times when some of these things don't work, but there will be times when they will work. Fashion's supposed to be fun and personal, so by following rules, it can really limit your style. You should base your outfits on how you think you look in them and how they make you feel, rather than if they comply with someone else's rules. You can also take all the points I'm making in this video with a grain of salt, or you can just ignore them all completely. These are all just things that have helped me think differently, but they're not set in stone rules, so you don't have to follow any of these tips that I'm giving you if you don't want to. The next one is about trusting your gut, and this one is very important. Whenever I've gone against my gut, I've always ended up with clothing I've never ended up wearing. You know, when you buy something and you get that feeling that something about it just isn't quite right, then listen to that feeling. If you don't, 9 times out of 10, you'll wish you had. Next, I want to talk about proportions. Now, I bet you're sick of the word proportions by now because it's being thrown around all over the place, but there's good reason for that. It's important to pay attention to them. Not understanding your own proportions or the proportions an item of clothing is going to give to your outfit is a recipe for disaster. You need to understand your body shape and what's going to work best for you. Now, I've done some videos on the channel about the rule of thirds, and a comment I get all the time on those videos is, I wish I could do that, but I've got a long torso and shorter legs, so the rule of thirds isn't going to work for me. But they couldn't be more wrong. The rule of thirds can actually give them the illusion that they've got a shorter torso and longer legs. They just need to think about it more. But whether you're going for a look made up of thirds or half and half, it doesn't matter. What matters is you're putting some thought behind what you're doing. But learning about proportions really changed dressing for me, and it made things a lot easier, so I'd highly recommend learning about it. Another mistake is not subscribing to the channel, so I'd highly recommend you do that. That was pretty smooth, I think. No? Okay, well, if you like this video, please do leave it a like. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.